everybody. Thank you so much for joining me for another round of meditation. This is the Thursday 12:30 live meditation for this afternoon. Thanks for being with me. So first of all, for those who asked about Toffee, my dog, my teaching assistant, my mascot, who usually sits with me during meditation, he's doing fine. Thank you very much. He's had surgery successfully, and he's on his way to recovery, although it's going to be a long journey. It's going to be a 12-week recovery process, but it's something that I feel I've had experience in the past with my last dog, my German Shepherd, who also had the same injury. I feel like coming into this the second time, I'm a little bit more prepared. I'm a little bit more mentally prepared. I feel like there are bits of experiences that I can draw from, although it should be said that with every incident, every child, every fur child, every situation, it's slightly different. So I understand that it's going to come with its own challenges. It's a completely different dog with a completely different temperament, and we live in a completely different place now. So I understand there are going to be challenges, and we will just ride with uncertainty in that respect. So today I actually want to talk about the difficult emotions that arise that as a result of experiencing trauma, as a result of experiencing uncertainty. I actually wanted to talk more about dealing with difficult emotions today. So I know that with Toffee getting injured the other day, I certainly felt really drained. I felt upset, emotional, and all of that. And part of the challenge is to be mindful and ride with those emotions as they arise, as opposed to pushing them away, judging them for being bad emotions. You shouldn't feel them. It's part of the challenge is to ride with those difficult emotions, because suffering is part of the human experience. We all go through suffering. We suffer from time to time in different situations, different circumstances, and it's just part of what happens in human life. And if we're okay with suffering, if we're okay with the idea that we suffer from time to time, then it really takes the pressure off. It really takes the pressure off being upset or even suffering even more when you sort of expect life to be this rosy, glowing thing, and life should be perfect, and when it's not perfect, we get upset. That's not my understanding of the experience of life. The experience of life, as I understand it, is we all go through suffering. We all go through journeys of our own. We all go through with our own experiences so that we can grow. So when we're suffering, it's important to be self-compassionate. I think it's important to be self-compassionate, to be kind to ourselves when we are suffering. So when we're suffering, it's not a matter of beating ourselves up. It's not a matter of saying, bad person, bad girl, bad boy, bad person, you shouldn't feel those emotions. I don't believe it's about that, but rather it's about cultivating compassion for yourself when you're suffering, just as you would to a dear friend when they're suffering. Just as when we see a friend of ours, or a friend or a family, someone we know, we see them suffer, we tend to reach out. We tend to go, I'm sorry this happened to you. Yeah, this sucks. And part of cultivating self-compassion is actually having the same compassion towards ourselves as we would to a friend, being kind to ourselves, just as we are kind to a friend who's suffering. So what I thought I'll do today is go through a self-compassion practice, something that I've adopted from the mindful self-compassion movement. This is the soften, soothe, and allow meditation that allows us to work with the difficult emotions as it arises, so that we can be with the difficult emotions. And the aim, the point, the goal of this meditation and is to see if we can try and soften around the hard edges of the difficult emotions that come up. So it's not about shutting down the emotions per se, but it's about softening just around the edges, just to see if we can soften and soothe and allowing those emotions to be there. And hopefully, not hopefully, it can, or it might not, both are okay. But the goal is to just allow it to be there, and sometimes it will transform into something else, into a softer emotion. Sometimes it wouldn't, but for this particular exercise, it's about allowing your difficult emotions to be there and see what arises and see if it will transform for you. So if you'd like to join me, I'd love to invite you on a self-compassion meditation where we will be working on our difficult emotions. If you'd like to join me, let's begin by closing our eyes and just making sure that you're seated comfortably, spine tall, your back is supported, legs either straight or crossed. It doesn't really affect this exercise too much. Just making sure that you're seated comfortably. And when you're comfortable, see if you can connect to your breath by breathing in normally and breathing out normally. Breathing in normally and breathing out normally. Continue with a few more like this. Allowing yourself to breathe and allowing yourself to let your breath to relax you, if that's possible. Just ever so slightly. And if your body is holding any tension right now, let's actually do 3 loud breaths where we sigh out, so that it may hopefully help you, assist you in easing the tension in the body. Alright, let's breathe in together and sigh it out together. Breathing in together and sigh out together. And one more, breathing in and sighing out together. Just allowing your body to settle and the tension to settle. If you're noticing any tension in your body right now. And when you're ready, I'd love to invite you to bring into mind something that is troubling you right now, something that you have difficult emotions around. Maybe choose something that's not overly difficult, but something that invokes at least a bit of discomfort. Maybe on the scale of 1 to 10, choose something that's about a 4. knowing that any time that it becomes too much, you can drop it and just connect back to your breath, knowing that connecting to your breath is an option if it becomes too intense, knowing that that is a safe option for you to take whenever you feel too triggered by the event. So if you can, see if you can bring into mind an incident, a situation, a person, or even this particular pandemic that we're in right now. Maybe it's related to the pandemic, maybe it's not. But just choosing something that brings a level of difficult emotions in your body and in your mind. Recalling your mind what it is that you feel difficult emotions around without getting too caught up in the storyline or blaming whose fault it is, why it's not this way or that way, but just recalling enough details to help you connect to that particular situation and those particular emotions. We're going to work with the feelings that arise in the body in itself. And we're going to see if we can soften those sensations, those physical sensations. So if it helps, see if you would like to label the emotions associated with this particular situation. It might be frustration, anger, disappointment, helplessness, infuriation, fear. And oftentimes there may be more than one emotion that comes up. But for the purposes of this exercise, see if you can pick the predominant emotion that comes up for you, the strongest emotion that comes up for this particular situation. So again, this might be anger, it might be frustration, disappointment, fear, or maybe it's something else. Working with that emotion in mind, see if you can identify in your body where this difficult emotion is located. What is the physical manifestation of this particular emotion for you right now? Is it a lump in the throat? Is it a knot in the gut? Is it a compression in the chest? Maybe a twinging in the heart region? Maybe a sinking feeling? Allowing yourself to explore what those physical sensations are, the physical manifestations of those emotions that you're feeling right now. It may help for you to identify or name or describe what those physical emotions are, the physical sensations are of those emotions. Really connecting to the descriptions of the physical sensations, naming it, identifying it. And oftentimes when we feel pain, we flinch, we take our hand away, we avoid, we run away from it. In other words, we meet these difficult sensations, these difficult emotions with resistance because we don't want to be there. So if it's possible, the best that you can, see if you can stay there for a little bit longer instead of running away from it. If it's moderate amount of discomfort, see if you can be there for just a little bit longer. Allow yourself to be with those physical sensations, watching it, observing it, and most of all, allowing it to be there as opposed to pushing it away. Allowing yourself to feel the knot in the stomach, or that lump in your throat, or that knot in your gut, that sinking feeling. Allowing yourself to feel the sensations and allowing them to be there as opposed to running away from it or judging it for being there. Perhaps you'd like to remind your mind and remind yourself that you're safe. And you're safe right now. And it's okay to feel those emotions. Maybe it helps to validate how you feel right now, because yeah, it sucks. It sucks to have those feelings. It is hard. It is painful. And you have a right to feel the feelings that you feel. It's okay to feel the feelings that you feel. There's nothing wrong with you. Allowing yourself to feel those emotions and validating that you're feeling those emotions, and it's painful, I know. Poor sweetie. I know it's painful. And maybe if it helps, you may want to physically tap on the spot where it's hurting right now. Gently comforting, physically comforting yourself as you would for a child or furry friend or fur child when they're in pain and suffering. Yeah, I know, it hurts. It's okay, you're alright. Allow yourself to tap yourself where it hurts. Just gently tapping, caressing. Giving yourself a soothing touch. Maybe it's patting yourself on the hand. Maybe it's gently caressing it. Providing comfort to how you feel right now. Comfort, compassion, support. Allowing yourself to receive the comfort that you would offer if a friend was suffering, or maybe a child, or maybe a furry friend. as you notice those emotions, those difficult emotions, see if you can allow it to soften around the edges, the blurring of the edges, so it's not so hard anymore. Just like a bathtub where it's filled to the brim, see if you can allow it to flow over to the other side, where it just spills over the edges. So the hard edges softens, allowing yourself to soften, giving yourself permission to soften. And as you notice those emotions, see what emotions come up for you. Is it still as hard as when it first came up? Is it still as striking or strong? Or has it softened around the edges? Or maybe it's shifted, transformed, transmuted into something softer, something different. Maybe anger or frustration has softened and it's turned into grief, this underlying grief or sadness. Maybe these strong feelings of disappointment is really feelings of feeling like you're being let down. So the sadness of being let down, perhaps. Just noticing for you what comes up for you. And if you notice your mind wandering to the event itself, or if you find yourself examining the details of the event, of what actually happened, or dissecting the situation, replaying the incident in your mind, or whose fault it was, see if you can come back gently, because the mind wanders and that's what minds do. But the purpose of this exercise is not to find fault in the other or yourself, or to relive that situation in the full extent, but just bringing up that situation that allows you to connect to those emotions and then work with those emotions that are in your body right now. So you find your mind wandering, see if you can gently bring it back. Keeping an eye on those emotions, those difficult emotions that you've worked through, noticing if anything has shifted. Allowing yourself to soften and soothing yourself with a gentle touch or just with a gentle voice. And if more difficult emotions come up, see if you can repeat those 3 steps. Soften, soothe, and allow. Softening those hard emotions, those strong emotions that come up. soothing yourself. It's okay. Yeah, I know it hurts. You're alright. And allowing those emotions to be there. Allowing those emotions to be there without judgment. Simply just letting it be there. And just watching it. And allowing it to be there. Watching those emotions be there in the body. Identifying where in the body it's manifested. And perhaps offering a soothing touch to help it soften, to soothe it and allow it to be there. Allowing yourself to sit with the emotions, the physical sensations in your body. Allowing to soften if it wants to soften, without forcing yourself, or without changing it or forcing it to be anything other than what it is. And now we can drop that emotion, drop those thoughts. We can drop everything now and bring your awareness to your whole body, scanning your whole body, having awareness of your whole body, from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. Bring awareness to your whole body now, observing the sensations and the feelings that arise in the whole body. And if you'd like to join me, feel free to put a hand over your heart to connect to your heart. Connect to the feelings of kindness, compassion, tenderness, gentleness, lovingness. And reminding yourself, reassuring yourself that suffering is a part of the human experience and that no life is perfect, it's not meant to be perfect. And allowing things to happen and allowing suffering to be part of the human experience without judging it or pushing it aside. Acknowledging that suffering happens to all of us. It happens to the best of us. And giving yourself permission to be okay with suffering. Because that's part of the common human experience and that's part of common humanity. It's part of the rich tapestry of the human experience. And when we're okay with suffering as part of our human experience, it might not be so bad anymore. Because we know that we all taste all the flavors of life. Sweet, salty, bitterness, sourness. It's all part of the human experience. And allowing yourself to make peace with that. Bring your awareness back to this room now, here with me and my voice guiding you. Allowing yourself to breathe in the compassion and the kindness for yourself as you have kindness and compassion for others. And when you're ready, You may open your eyes. How does that feel, everybody? Thank you for joining me for another round of meditation. I'm very privileged to be here with you, to be sharing our time with you. So thank you for your time. And until next time, namaste.